Hi everyone, I'm Martin and welcome to another great edition for Astronomy for Beginners. Now, we're drawing closer to Christmas. There's going to be a mad rush of people going out to buy presents for their loved ones and for the kids. And there's a craze of people trying to buy telescopes for Christmas. Don't get me wrong, there are a few branded telescopes that are cheap and usually are just like a toy. Now, it's okay to have a toy for Christmas for kids, but I wouldn't consider a telescope for a very young child. Now, if I was looking to buy a telescope for Christmas, I was looking at an age group between 7 upwards. Now, telescopes are really considered as scientific instruments and not really a toy telescope. But there are times where we have a lot of parents who are looking to buy a cheap telescope for Christmas for a very young child. Now, I would not consider buying a cheap telescope. If you are going to buy a cheap telescope, then seriously, do not waste your money, because there are better things. What I would consider is, if you are considering buying a telescope, then buy yourself a good pair of binoculars. Okay, there might not be a telescope for the young child, but they are durable, they are cheap, they give good views. Alright, and you can see amazing detail with a pair of binoculars, and believe me, you're saving a lot of money. Even though if the child doesn't get interested into astronomy, you can still use a good pair of binoculars for something else, and believe me, binoculars will go a long way. However, like I said before, there are a few grown-ups out there that want to get something special for the kids and to the loved ones as well, right? Anyone can buy a good telescope, but there are a few things that you need to check beforehand before you start purchasing a telescope. There are a lot of things, and the biggest concern, I would say, is budget. Bear in mind, I get that telescopes are expensive, but believe me, when you buy a good telescope, the children will appreciate it better. And a good telescope will help to expand their knowledge, get into the astronomy better. And I'm saying this with experience. I mentioned this in my video. Okay, if you've not seen how to buy a good telescope for Christmas and avoid trash telescopes, part 1, please check out the link at the top. I know it's an old video, but there are some very good information there. It is a long video, but please check that out. That video has helped thousands and thousands of people. I want to push this information out to you guys and girls. This is very important, because what we're facing is a lot of negativity within, not only within the astro community, within a broadwide in science as well. And all that is doing with this negativity is creating people put off with astronomy. It's affecting education, and businesses are losing out. Again, over the years, we have lost quite a few people along the astro community. We need to get people involved. Even knowers, get newcomers involved. Get the kids involved. Get them interested. And the only way we can do this is to buy quality equipment, good quality equipment, for your children, for the newcomers. Because good quality equipment will help get people involved, get people interested into astronomy. And this is the reason why I'm doing this video, to push out that information more, because there are loads of scammers out there that think they're doing a great job, but they're not. They are damaging the astral community society. It's putting people off from astronomy. Don't get me wrong, there are cheap alternatives, but cheap doesn't necessarily mean good. Now, I'm not advertising. I have a lot of equipment that are good budget telescopes. I am not sponsored by this company by any means. These are what I bought through the years, and because they're that good, I've kept them. Because the telescope is for life. Good telescopes last a very long time. As long as they're being looked after, as long as they're getting used, they can last for many years of enjoyment. And you can see stunning views of the moon, the planets, the galaxies and the nebula. Alright, you can see a ton of stuff. And again, I can't stress that seriously enough. And the purpose of this part 2 is to show you the latest scams coming out, because there are a few people who are wanting to rip people off. They think they're doing a good thing, a good deed, but they're not. All they care about is your money. So the purpose of this video is to help you guys and girls, help you decide even further afield, show you the latest scams that's coming out. They have done their homework. They obviously looked at this my last video and they've worked around it. However, I can't stop that threat. There's always going to be scammers out there ripping people off. And I have been kindly requested from one of my members from Astronomy for Beginners. Okay, but he wants to share his experience that he has been ripped off. So he kindly requested me. He's donated this trash telescope. Now, as I mentioned before in my last video, I'm not prepared to waste my money on a trash telescope. I can't see the point. He wants me to review this telescope that he's bought, and I'm going to compare it with this telescope. Now, this is an 80mm refractor, and it's a very good telescope. Now, a lot of good retailers are starting to advertise this telescope. You can get this as a package, but again, there are smaller aperture telescopes that are good. I totally get it that there's a few people in the last video that said that the 60mm refractor is not ample, right? And I did say in part 1 that the 70mm is what I consider is a good telescope for a refractor, a minimum requirement. I get that, and there are a few people that didn't like what I had to say, that a 70mm I would consider is a minimum aperture for a refractor for astronomy. However, there are good 60mm refractors, but all I wanted to do was share my experiences. Okay, everyone's got different views. This is just my experiences. But the one key area is, as long as you buy a good telescope from a good retailer, ideally a trusted retailer from an astronomy shop or online. There are very good retailers out there, and I will put out a list. Okay, there'll be a list of good retailers at the bottom, okay, of this video. So please check out the description below, alright, of my recommendation of good retailers. And a lot of these retailers are dedicated to astronomy. So please visit those retailers. Ask them for advice. They're all out there. They will give you very good advice. Okay, they will help you choose within your budget as well. We want videos, more videos like this, to help people out, to get people so they do not get ripped off or burnt. This is the purpose why I've done part 2, because these scammers, these rip-off merchants are out there ripping people off, and all they're doing is damaging the interest in science and astronomy. That's what they're doing. They don't care about what the impact is. All they care about is this. They care about is money, your money. They don't care how bad the product is. As long as the product sells, that's okay with them. And there are loads of them. And again, I don't care if they dislike this video. Again, let them dislike this video, because what I'm trying to do is trying to push out this information. This information is going to help thousands of people. The only way we can prevent being ripped off, the only way we can prevent people getting discouraged from astronomy, we need to stop this. Stop spending your money on these scammers. Stop wasting your money on them, so you don't get burnt and ripped off. We need to act, and the only way you can act is to stop spending on trash. The best advice is go to an astro community, go to a club, go online. There are many astronomy groups out there, including ourselves, Astronomy for Beginners. Right, there are many out there that can give you a ton of information so that you avoid getting burnt and getting ripped off. Please visit those groups. Please visit an astro club near you. Alright, there are tons of information. There's even books out there. That's how important it is. If you really care about your loved ones or your kids, they will appreciate you. They will appreciate what you've done. And by doing this, but if they have got a good telescope, their interest will grow. Okay, they might not undertake it. However, a telescope can be used for other things. It doesn't matter. But again, there are trash telescopes out there that people don't know the hobby, do not know astronomy very well. They don't know what to look for. So I'm going to share this experience, kindly donated by one of our members, okay, and I'm going to show you the examples, okay, in much clearer detail. Better than part one, because part one I get it with a PowerPoint presentation I showed you. It wasn't quite good quality video. However, you now get to see the real differences, and this is the reason why I'm pushing out this video. So please, if you like the video, please hit the like button. Seriously, hit the like button, because this video is going to help thousands of people to make them decide what they're going to get for Christmas for their loved ones or their kids. So please, subscribe onto my channel, hit the notifications tab, okay, hitting the bell. All that's going to do is, with any new videos that I launch out, you're not going to miss out, okay, so please hit the notifications. So now we're going to take a close look from here.
So, as I show you through a series of images that I've located some social websites and some shopping websites, I like to show you some examples so that you can see where all the latest scams are happening. Now, the reason why I'm pushing out these slides is to teach you guys and girls a few guidelines, few advice, so that you can shop safely. I'm not deterring you away from shopping online, right? You do get some awesome budget, awesome deals you can get out there in the astro market. So what I'm trying to do is to show you a few examples so that you can identify what is genuine and what is fake. These scammers are very intelligent people. They know a few tricks to trick you in buying your valuable money. They don't care about the product, as long as it sells, as long as they can make a quick buck, they don't care. So these slides are going to help you buy safely online. These guidelines are there so that you make the right decisions and you can look out for anything that seems dodgy. Now, if you do find something dodgy, please report it. The more people report this, the better it's going to do is to prevent more of these scammers from trying to sell these rubbish products. So it's very crucial that if you see something that's not reliable or doesn't seem legit, please report it to the social media, report it to the shopping sites you surf on. The more people report this, the more we can prevent these scammers tricking people, ripping people off. The more we push it out, this information, the more we can stop them. This is what's creating, it's damaging the astro community, it's damaging this hobby. These trash telescopes are not there to encourage people, even though these scammers, you call them, or whatever, they don't like to be named or shamed, they think they're doing a great job, but they're not. You can buy great products and within budget. Now, as you can see in this picture, you do get some genuine items, a solar filter, a solar telescope. They're all legit. However, if you check this part out, this is a prime example of a trash telescope. However, looking at this picture, straight away the warning sign, you got professional stargazing, professional, 5,000 times deep space adult astronomy. I like how they use these keywords to make it look as if it's professional. But seriously, would you consider buying that item? 5,000 times magnification with a 70mm aperture? I don't think so. And £86 to £110? Seriously? There is different values. Again, that is a trash telescope. But it's a very poor example of a trash telescope because you can see straight away that's not legit. That's not a reliable source. You can identify the problem. So that is a very bad example. Now these scammers have probably looked at my last video and they've done some homework. This next slide, straight away they've gone through a reliable sort of genuine sort of article, right? This box here, this telescope's been advertised. They've gone through the sensible approach. Okay, it looks legit, it looks genuine. However, it's still a trash telescope. They're using keywords to trick the mind. Again, durable metal construction. They use the 30 times magnification, which, okay, it's a sensible amount of magnification. They've used no glorified fantastic images of pictures of nebula, galaxies, planets. They've kept it simple but sensible. Agreed. There's nothing wrong with that picture. However, what is wrong with that picture is the quality of that telescope. And me personally, would I recommend anyone for astronomy for this particular telescope? No. Probably as a toy telescope. So they've done the homework. They've looked into this, and you can see straight away in that picture they've obviously have studied something. They've got some sources and they've worked around it. This is just advice. I'm not here to scare you off, but it's to make sure that you don't make mistakes. And it's very easy to make mistakes. End of the day, we're only human. So I'm going to show you the next slide. Again, this is this package I've just shown you from the last slide. And as you can see, I like how they did the inside the box routine. So you know, as it shows you the contents of the telescope, the accessories, it looks legit. It looks like a genuine product. However, straight away, it's there to trick you. It looks like as if it's high quality. But don't be fooled, okay? This is just to trick your mind thinking that you're buying a quality product. Doesn't mean to say it's good. It isn't. It's the way it is. But I like how they've done this approach. This is a new tactic. So inside the box scam. The next one. Now this is just a small slide, but I've noticed that the telescope brand they're advertising here is this telescope. It looks fantastic. It looks smart, slick, you name it. It looks appealing. It appears to have a reasonably good tripod. However, I have not heard of this branded telescope. The selling point of this telescope is it has a camera adapter, which usually is fitted onto the eyepiece. So this camera adapter, which you can attach your smartphone, is the main selling point of this telescope. Now again, we don't know how good the telescope is, but the only selling point of this is the camera phone. So you can attach your smartphone on there to take pictures. However, doesn't mean to say that you're going to get good quality images, because this determines a lot about the mount itself. Again, look at the warning signs. It looks like a flimsy mount. Do you really think that's going to hold the weight of the camera adapter or the smartphone adapter or the smartphone together? No, not really. It's too much weight already. That's just for the telescope alone. But I like their approach. I do like how they try to get people, particularly with the smartphone users, to try and get people involved. However, I can see the design and the idea behind it to encourage people. However, the telescope is that bad, it's not going to encourage people into astronomy. If it's got a flimsy mount or the optics are so bad, then your smartphone isn't going to capture decent images. Another trick I've just noticed, there are some telescopes that I've seen that you can attach your smartphone on the base and you can download an app which is like where you can use your smartphone to point and shoot. In other words, you use this app which has got a planetarium type program. So you can point your telescope in direction of what object you want to view in the night sky. That is another gimmick. And again, there's no guarantee that that is accurate. A lot of these devices will give you a near enough, or not, it's not accurate, but it will give you some genuine direction of where the object is situated in the night sky. But I like how they've done it. It's just a special adapter, and all this adapter will do with this app is so that you can find objects. I get the concept of it. I get how it encourages people into astronomy. However, the app or the pointing device that you use on your smartphone is not accurate enough. It doesn't have the resolution. So you point your telescope with the smartphone attached, you may not be able to find the objects quite as accurately. But again, I like how they've done that approach, where you can use an app, point the telescope in the night sky, use a smartphone to find the object. Is it really going to guarantee that you're going to get decent images? No. Again, look at that design. Straight away, cheap. It looks nice, but look closer. The mount doesn't look sturdy enough. The tripod looks flimsy. Again, straight away, the tube looks cheap and tacky. But that's how they've done it. These are the latest scams. They're here to trick you. They're here to trick people thinking they got a great deal. So we move on to the next slide. Now this is another scam. Now as you can see in this picture, there is a telescope advertised, and it is a good telescope. It is legit. This model does exist, and don't get me wrong, it's a damn good telescope, and it's one of the telescopes I would seriously recommend for a beginner, without a doubt. However, what's wrong in this picture is that whoever is selling this product is overcharging. Now, as you look closer to the details, I've looked closer on this, and it actually is an achromat. Now, what's wrong in this picture is the person or scammer who's advertising this at a ridiculous amount of money. He's charging £1,099.99. Now, after looking closer to this product, there's a lot of the details that's been missing. Now, this is an achromat. This is not an ED telescope. Now, the 120 for this type of model usually costs between 400, maybe £500 at the most. However, it's an achromat. It's not a true extra dispersion model. Now, you will pay that amount for an extra dispersion model, but this is just an achromat. There is no way in this earth I will pay that amount of money for an achromat. Same again. This is a genuine telescope. As you can see in that picture, this is a Wi-Fi telescope, which is a computer controlled telescope. With the mount, you can connect your phone, and with that phone you can use that smartphone, and you can use the telescope mount to point objects in the night sky, and it finds it for you. You can pay for this telescope between 400, maybe £500. However, the seller is offering a ridiculous amount of money, and I mean a ridiculous amount of money. £1,159.25. Seriously? But the reason why these scammers do it, they overcharge for certain items. They put a few keywords in there to make it really extra special, and they prey on the vulnerable people that don't know much about the hobby or know about the equipment. So this is what you've got to be careful. This is what you've got to look out for. So overcharging for a genuine product, a damn good product. These scammers, that's why they're making millions or making thousands of pounds every year, is they're overcharging at horrendous prices, beyond prices well above what retailers and the manufacturers will sell. This is ridiculous. However, they are making a ton of money by overcharging stupid prices. So please, everyone, if you don't know about this telescope or the brand, ask people in a group, a club, you name it, ask first. Again, highlight the specification and compare it with other websites. Again, please look more closer into detail in this product before you buy. But again, I will never pay that kind of price. And that's not even export prices on top of that. So please be careful. The next picture is we have a series of accessories. As you can see at the top, you've got a decent solar filter. There's even a solar filter projector. Okay, these are all genuine accessories. Be careful of dangerous accessories. Now, I'm absolutely shocked that they are selling these online. This is an illegal sun filter. This item, you actually screw this on an eyepiece. This dangerous item, if you're going to use this and fit it to an eyepiece onto your telescope and you look at the sun, the heat builds up on that filter, and what happens, they crack. And I'm really shocked that they're selling these items online to the vulnerable people out there. If you was going to screw that device on there, onto your telescope, you're going to lose your eyesight. I cannot believe they are selling these products. Again, if you're going to buy a solar filter for your telescope, I advise you to go and visit a retailer shop or online shop and ask first before you buy. Never buy anything that's like this. Now the trick is, what they've done is they've also added an extra item to get you to buy what it is. So I like how these scammers do these tactics. Please do not buy a screw-on sun filter which you screw on an eyepiece. You need to buy a proper dedicated solar filter. The ones that are at the top here is a good example where you fit over an objective lens or mirror and you can look at the sun safely. But again, please ask first before you buy. Unfortunately, avoid these at all costs, especially the sun filter. It's even that bad that there are loads more items on sale. And I'm shocked that, again, they're still selling, and there's loads of them, loads of these scammers selling these illegal, dangerous sun filters. These are not going to protect your eyes. And there's loads of them that's selling these. Please avoid these at all costs. Please, for the safety for yourselves and to your kids. If you're going to trust a darkened glass against a magnified image of harmful rays through the sun, seriously, cheap doesn't mean it's good. So please, if you see these items, you need to report this. This is dangerous items. They should be banned and they should never be sold online. So, here's another example. This is another one I like to share. Now, most of us use a lot of social media. It's one of the greatest things we can use and utilize to obviously showing groups of astronomy, sell things, advertise things. It's a great way of showing all this stuff on social media. However, what I like to share is one of our members reported this online on social. This is on a social network. I'm not going to describe what it is, but you can guess with the format already in this picture. Now, what we see here is we had a few people have done a lot of complaints along a lot of astro groups, and they reported this latest scam that's coming out. At the moment, what you see in this picture, we have one of the members who wishes to remain anonymous, he has kindly donated a telescope to me with the information sent out with this scammer. Now this scammer is showing in this picture that this is a professional advert, really professionally done. The video is fantastic, don't get me wrong. What you're seeing here, you'll see series of bright coloured images of galaxies, nebula, you name it. What is wrong with this picture is what's advertised somewhat to be of a 90mm refractor and somewhat of a high class, high grade mount. Now this mount here, I'm not going to describe what the model is, but that mount here costs quite a bit. It's actually a £1,200 mount. Okay, it's a really good mount. What's wrong with this picture is you've got the user showing this high grade instrument. The warning signs in this picture clearly shows autumn special deal, there's a sale on, save 84%. Straight away, this is already ground sign that this is a scamming advert. Now the video is very professionally done, very good video with very catchy subtitles. Again, do not be fooled, do not be deceived. These are key words to get people interested. I like how they use fully multi-coated glass lens optics. Here you see in this picture is a very good refractor, fantastic. However, what's cleverly done is that this image doesn't show you the actual model. It doesn't actually show you any logos or anything. It just shows you little bits of the telescope. But that is a very good telescope, what they're showing. With very good optics, very good accessories. It's a good budget telescope. However, straight away, you've got all these unique sale prices, keywords to trick the viewer, and you can click on there to shop online. Again, they're using excellent images of the moon, using the keywords to trick the viewers. It's a big scam, really is. Now that is a genuine picture of a typical telescope, and I'm thinking that's from the telescope that's been shown. Again, excellent images to try and capture you. Again, this is the telescope that's been advertised. However, this is not the telescope that from the last user who's donated this telescope. He's bought this telescope directly from this online shop. However, it's not what it's supposed to be. So later on in the video I will show you what he did actually receive. But it's not the 90mm refractor you see in this picture. Oh no. Don't get me wrong. They've gone to town, they've used a bit of photoshopping, they've done a few tweaks to make it look attractive, making it out it's a great deal. But as I'll show you later on the video, you will see for yourself that this is a big con. And believe me, it's not good. Again, as you go through all the images, it shows you, again, keywords to get you excited. 600mm focal length lets you see every detail. Oh, I love these catchy words. But again, It's false advertisement. It's also tricking users to believe that what they're seeing is a damn good deal, which is too good to be true. But that is the warning. That is the key warning. It's too good of a deal to be what it's supposed to be. Now this is the actual online shop, and this is the actual telescope which is shown. And already, from the last slides you've just seen, the telescope is already got a different mount. Again, it's supposed to be a 90mm refractor. It does look like a good mount, and it does look like a good telescope with decent accessories. However, straight away there is some discrepancies. The mounts changed slightly to what was advertised from previously in the video. In the video it was a high grade EQ computer tracking mount. However, in this picture they're advertising just an altazimuth mount, which does look like a sturdy mount from this picture. I get that. However, look at the ground signs. It doesn't look legit at all, not one bit. And straight away I can see straight away something's not right in this actual site. And you can click on here and you can buy, or you can send your messages across, and you can purchase this item. This item is also linked to other shopping websites. It is a legit company, don't get me wrong. According to the last member who donated this telescope to me, really good customer service, don't get me wrong. However, what I'm about to show you will horrify you. And this is the main reason why I'm showing you this video, is to show you guys and girls, please shop safely. It is important that I share this information out to you guys and girls. There are a few people who have seen this. They probably already know what's going on. But however, for the people who do not know what they're buying, this is why the scammers are preying on vulnerable people and children. What else are they going to do next? I wonder. But again, the more we report this to let you know, to protect you, the more we can eliminate these scammers. But again, I can't stop them. They always find something else to scam people with. But again, these videos that I put out will stop them. They'll probably change their plan again, and they'll try another tactic. They always will. But for the benefit of my video is I want to share my experiences, and I also want to share other people's experiences. We're in the process at the moment to join with different astro groups together. The more people report this on social media, report it to them of dodgy scamming websites and false advertisement. If more people are encouraged to report this, the more we can stamp these scammers out from social media, out from shopping websites. We need to act. We need to report. Stop these scammers ripping people off. That's where they focus on Christmas, to prey on the vulnerable. And all this is doing is damaging our beloved hobby in astronomy. It's putting people off from the subject. It's discouraging people. But these people don't care, these scammers. All they care about is your money and nothing else. With these slides, I hope it's helped you dramatically. I hope that you've got some idea based on what I've seen and what other people reported to me. I hope these help you, these slides. So I'm going to show you a typical trash telescope. However, I had an important request from one of our Astronomy for Beginners members, and he would like to share his experience. He kindly donated this telescope to me, and he wants to address the situation, how bad it is, and from learning from his experience. Now this is proof of the evidence of his purchase. Now I've blanked it all out to protect the person in question, but it is an invoice of a telescope that he bought. So he purchased this telescope that he's seen advertised in a social media website. I'm not going to mention what social media site it was, but I'm sure you probably have seen it through many of your posts. Now this company advertised through this social media, seems legit, and as I mentioned through the video, it was shown in there. Now this is the confirmation, the invoice that he purchased. He's paid for this item that's supposed to be $59.99, and it's supposed to be, as we can see if you check that out there, it's supposed to be a 600 focal length by 90mm AZ refracting telescope. Now that was the telescope advertised, and again it all looks legit. I blanked out everything, the email addresses, the name, who it's from and all that, to protect the person in question. Now again, there's the payment of the custom information. Again, I blanked it all out. So he's paid literally $60 for this telescope. Now it seems legit. They seem to be quite reliable and knowledgeable, and quite a good service. However, upon receiving this parcel, he was horrified to see this. This is the box, and as you can see straight away from all the video, from the last video I mentioned before, look at the ground sign. Look at what we've got. It doesn't appear to be much of a telescope. Straight away, the scammers have used a sensible approach. In other words, they haven't gone to town with glorified pictures of nebula. They've just gone, okay, a few minor pictures. They have really studied and done their homework here. Already, straight away, the ground sign illustrates. I like how the key words saying compact, sturdy table, tripod. It's got mirror diagonal, right hand side, right hand views. I like how they used the optical glass and metal tube assembly. In other words, they described this telescope as of high quality. It's got a metal tube. Straight away, the guy was horrified because at this point here, I blanked it out, but it's not the 90mm telescope. Now the 90mm telescope that he's supposed to have purchased, the objective lens supposed to be, the diameter size supposed to be 90mm. As we opened the box, straight away, my God, look at it. It looks appealing at first. Okay, it may be okay as a toy telescope, but even as a toy telescope, I render this absolutely useless. Again, the tripod, straight away. It's an aluminium tripod, don't get me wrong, but it's plastic, it's flimsy, you can't extend it. So straight away the tripod is already a disappointment. The telescope itself, straight away, it's a 50mm refractor. It's not the 90mm refractor that this guy ordered. So clearly, straight away,
he's been scammed. It's not fault of his own. He was under the impression that he paid for something and he hasn't got. And this is what I mean about these scammers. They don't care about the customer. All they care is about ripping you off. And this guy was under the impression that he was going to get a 16mm focal length 90mm refractor. But this clearly isn't. This is a 50mm refractor with a focal length of 360mm. Not as it was described. Straight away, okay, it's got a metal tube. Big deal. But he didn't get what he wanted. And straight away, the warning signs, it's supposed to have coated lenses. So it's supposed to be a coated lens telescope, yeah? I beg to differ. And it's supposed to be, again, not even the dust caps hold the mirror diagonal. So, horrible focuser. And as you can see, loads of free play. It's useless. It's like, and it doesn't even clamp right. So yeah, cheap plastic focuser. The main problem is it's supposed to be a coated lens. As we check there, it's supposed to be 50mm. But as you look closely, it's not actually a 50mm. There's actually is a step down where it's lowered it down to a 40mm. So already supposed to be a coated glass, which it isn't. It's just a plain glass. The crafty scammers have even glued this now, so you can't actually unscrew the cap to strip down the lens. So it's not easy to take out the glass elements to check see if it's an achromat. So to me, I still think it's a single lens element, but we'll get to show you through an image to prove to you guys and girls if it's an achromat or not. Now achromats will show a bit of a colour fringing or chromatic aberration, but as you can see, it's not quite. Alright, there's a slight coating of glass, but it's not a great coating. But again, it's actually a step down to 40mm, so it's not actually a 50mm. So straight away, cheap construction already. Again, they've done the homework. I'm guessing that they've probably watched my last video and started to go around the scam and made other alterations. Again, this is not a metal design. This is actually a plastic ionized this is an ionized metal coating, and that's just plastic. That is not a true metal form. Okay, it's really cheap and horrible. So badly coated glass. It's stepped down to 40mm, so it's not actually a 50mm. The one thing good about that telescope is it does have a warning saying do not use it to look at the sun. So that is one saving grace of that telescope. But every telescope I've paid for will always have that warning anyway, regardless. So that is one good thing it only has, is a little label to say do not use this telescope to look at the sun. But everything else, I like how they've cleverly gone through. I mean, look at the focuser, it's not even, it wobbles. It's terrible. The one thing is, I've mentioned, is this is a 0.965 eyepiece. So it's not the standard 1.25 inch. So this, even the accessories are 9.965 diameter, which is tiny compared to the standard 1.25 inch. The eyepiece is supplied or cheap construction. Again, straight away, warning signs. Plastic lenses, no optical, there's no optics in there, there's no optical coating. They are really cheap eyepieces. You'll never get to see anything out through them. They really are cheap construction. You know, even the high powered eyepiece has got, yeah, plastic lenses. The only thing, there's nothing actually metal at all apart from, in fact no, it's all plastic. Imitation plastic. It looks like it's made out of metal, but it's not. It's actually plastic, including the lens. Okay? Really cheap construction. Now you've got to laugh at this. Now this is horrendous. I cannot believe they do this. They've got a moon filter, and it's not exactly what I feel is a moon filter. It's more like a green filter to me. But again, even the filter, they've thrown in that to make it look as if you got yourself a great deal. But that is not a great moon filter. In fact, that's actually not very good at all. It just makes the moon appear green. That's it. But it's not a moon filter really. A moon filter would be neutral density. It'd be a grey colour coating on the actual glass. But this is not even glass. This is actually plastic. So it's actually a plastic. It doesn't actually filter any light. So they've used a cheap, crappy moon filter, and again, it doesn't serve no purpose. All that's going to do, you're just going to lose light. Okay, I know you need a moon filter to reduce light because of the moon glare, but this is actually pointless. But they've done it so that when you first purchase the item, the telescope, you think you're getting a good deal, but you're not. I like how they introduce this. It's not a Barlow lens, but it is an erecting eyepiece to keep an upright image. But it's plastic tube, plastic glass lens elements. They're not even coated. It's stupid. It's not good construction at all. It's just cheap and nasty. I bought something similar to this many years ago, and never again. But they're still doing the same tricks. But they continue to do this to rip people off. Me personally, I've seen this many years, and to be honest with you, why I see this telescope, it deserves to go into the trash. Because when the user would use this telescope for the first time, or a kid will use it, the first thing this will go will be in the trash. Hence the reason why they're called trash telescopes. They're not great. The views will be so terrible that this will either be a dust magnet, or it'll get thrown in the skip. And this what will happen. A total waste of money and a total waste of time. However, you'd be surprised how cheaply made. You think you've got a good deal, but you haven't. This costs peanuts to make, believe it or not. But we get to test this. So straight away, this crappy 40mm refractor, it's no wonder why the guy sent this to me. Even a child of that age won't even appreciate this telescope. And again, this is what I mean. When they first use it, they'll be disappointed to what they see. And this is what I mean about the last video about a cheap telescope. Don't get me wrong, this cheap trash telescope is very easy to assemble. It takes literally 2 seconds to assemble. Okay, just a lock bolt and a nut, and that's it. Then you've got your telescope mounted. However, straight away, it's a tabletop telescope. That's it. You can't extend the legs or nothing. Already, it's like, even when you try and move the telescope, the tripod is rubbish. It's pathetic. Don't forget, these lock nuts are slackened, yeah? Okay? So even when you're trying to move the telescope, Right, now the whole purpose of the tripod is it should keep the telescope and you should be able to rotate it by hand, yeah? And the worst thing is, it wobbles. I mean, as soon as I put some weight on the end, this is no good. The tripods should be sturdy so you can rotate the telescope in alt azimuth and up and down latitude, but you can't. And don't forget, I'm just using one hand. Okay, try and turn it this way. It's no good. And again, I'll show you closer detail what I mean. You see the lens element there? It's supposed to be coated. There probably is a slight coat, but it's not great. Just there, there's like a little closed opening. Now that is an indication that this is not an achromat. Now it's a single lens, and the reasons why would they stop it down is to reduce the chromatic aberration. So they reduce the lens element slightly down so it corrects the field of view a little bit better. That's the indication that this is not a true achromat. So as you can see there, you can see that there's like a little step down ring just around there. So that's what I mean. It's a 40mm when it's supposed to be a 50mm refractor. And straight away you can see the stop down field there. The accessories are 0.965, which is a very old format. They no longer make these. It's all 1.25 inches or 1.25 of an inch. Again, cheap plastic eyepieces, and as we slide this in there, it clamps alright, but as you can see, it's wobbly, it's terrible. So this 20mm Huygens is probably the best eyepiece you can use with this telescope. The rest of the stuff is total rubbish. This 6mm, I wouldn't even dream using this on a 40mm telescope. And again, I won't even dream using this erecting prism. We'll have a laugh though. This is supposed to keep your images upright, but for an astronomical telescope there is no requirement to have your image upright. As you can see there, look at that. That's just terrible. So even with the tripod, look at that. That's just pathetic. Alright, so if you're moving the tripod, look, it's like moving around like it's like moving the tripod all the way around. It looks like it's dancing in a discotheque. You know what I mean? It's just terrible. The other thing is, I mean, look at that. That's even, as I'm moving the telescope around, it's actually unscrewing itself. Oh my god. Oh my bloody, that is terrible. The actual head is actually unscrewed itself. So after a few uses on that, that's terrible. That's actually unscrewed itself. Don't forget, this screw is all the way out, and that's actually unscrewed itself. So in other words, couple of plays from a kid, and it's broken already. And I've only just moved it, and it's broken. How pathetic is that? And to be honest with you, the guy was under the impression he was a victim of false advertisement. It's not his fault that he was under the impression that he was getting a telescope that's supposed to be a 90mm refractor. He's been ripped off. But I'm so glad in a way that he donated this telescope to me so that I can show you guys and girls what I'm on about. Unfortunately, the manual is in a foreign language. I can't tell you what it is. The only thing good about this part is it tells you to assemble it, But the manual, only thing it was good at is tell you the magnification. So that's the magnification you can use. So they've been sensible with the magnification, but 90 times out of a 40mm refractor is a bit too much. So even they've done away with a serious amount of magnification, which was a selling point for cheap trash telescopes, obviously advertising them for 1,000 times magnification, when really it's not. So they've gone sensible with the magnification, but still, would you buy a loved one or your kids this heap of trash? And already it's wobbly. After a few operations, this is brand new by the way, this is straight out of the box, you know, straight away, it's wobbly, it's terrible. Would you honestly believe that you'll give this to a child? The child will be put off. Maybe it's okay as a toy telescope, but when a young astronomer, even a child will say that is trash. And to be honest with you, if you buy something cheap, you'll get something cheap. And this is what I mean. This is the point I'm trying to make. If you're on a limited budget, then get yourself a decent pair of binoculars. But if I give this to my child, he will never, or she will never be interested in astronomy at all. And that's what I mean. And this is why I'm trying to reinforce this information out. So as you can see there, that is a very bad telescope, and this is not a sort of telescope I would recommend, not even for terrestrial use, okay? It's terrible. Remember, this was $60, so it works out around about £40. So, you take your pick. You make the decision. But it's no wonder why astronomy is dying out, because these scammers do not care about you. All they care about is your money. Even though they think they're doing you a favour, they're not. This is trash telescopes. So now I'm going to show you a good quality budget telescope which I would recommend. Now this is a Skywatcher 80mm refractor. This is a great beginner telescope. Again, because it's a refractor, there is no need for collimation. It's very easy to use, and as you can see, yes, it's a metal tube. However, it's supported with decent telescope rings and a dovetail, Vixen dovetail. So you can actually take this off the mount easily and effectively. It has a decent tar rod finder. Now the other telescope didn't have a finder, but usually you'll find some that will. Avoid getting tricked by, oh yeah, because it has a finder scope, it looks expensive. This is just a red dot finder. It's very accurate. It gives out a upright image, and all you do is you position your telescope, look through the sight, and you can point your telescope through this red dot finder. But it is a basic aiming device, and it works very well, and it's better than a small useless finder scope. Construction of the focuser is metal. Yes, it's a rack and pinion, but it is a metal focuser, very sturdy focuser as well. It has a lockdown screw, okay, so you can lock down the focus. It's metal construction, and it accepts 1.25" eyepieces. No 0.95 eyepieces. They are very old eyepieces and they're obsolete. 1.25" is a decent size. It also comes with
even a T2 camera adapter, so you can actually fit a T-ring on the camera. You can actually attach a camera on there. So it makes this telescope not only good for astronomy, but also good as a little basic telephoto lens, okay, within budget, and you can get some close-ups. Again, this could be used for bird watching. So it's a good size telescope. It's very compact and portable. Again, you can take off the dew shield. So as we take a close look at the objective lens. Now this is a coated telescope, okay? Now there is an information thing just on the side, okay? It does say coated lens. Now you can tell it's a true 80mm refractor. If you look here, actually on the lens, this is a glass element. It's coated, as you can see, a nice deep blue coating there. There is no little internal ring, which means this is a full-size 80mm refractor. This is a true achromat. And the reason you can also tell it's a true achromat, there is on the lens insert itself, there is a screw. If you unloosen that and take it apart, there's actually two elements in there, but I'm not going to take it off because it's already mated inside. Now, reasons for an achromat is achromat will reduce some colour fringing, but it won't eliminate it all. However, for visual use, this is perfect. This is a perfect telescope for astronomy. Now, there's a lot of retailers now where they're issuing the tripod, the aluminium full-size AZ-free tripod. At the moment, the best price I've seen is around £139. But don't forget, this telescope does come with decent eyepieces. So these Plossels are 1.25 inches. They are glass elements. They have coated optics and 1.25 inches. Complete metal construction. They can be plastic, but as long as if the elements are glass, okay, with a good coating, they should be fine. With the 80mm refractor, you get the 25mm Plossel or the 10mm Plossel. They can be Kellners, okay, which is a different type of eyepiece. But as long as if they are coated glass optics, a sturdy barrel, even these have darkened barrel as well to reduce glare. These are good for astronomy. You will get decent views from these eyepieces. I can't stress this enough, that the eyepieces are just as important as the telescope. If you don't have decent eyepieces, you're never going to get decent views of the moon, the planets, you name it. These eyepieces they get from the trash telescope, as you can see, they're plastic. These are metal. These are metal glass element eyepieces. Already you can tell a massive improvement on the eyepiece quality. These are just cheap plastic, they're not even coated. You will not get decent views from these eyepieces whatsoever. About this fantastic moon filter that you get with a trash telescope. Usually when you buy accessories with telescopes, sometimes you do get free accessories, and there are some good retailers that will throw in an extra accessory to try to get you to buy a telescope, which I totally agree. The proper astronomy retailers are trying their best to try and get people into astronomy. This is a proper moon filter. This is a neutral density filter. As you can see, this will reduce glare. In other words, it will filter some of the glare when you look at the moon. You can tell straight away there is a huge difference between the two.
Does that really going to reduce the glare? No, not really. This will. This is specifically designed for the moon. But again, they throw in this to sell the telescope, to make you believe that you're buying a telescope with loads of accessories. Again, I mentioned this in my last video. Don't be fooled by this tactic. If you're going to buy a decent telescope, I'm afraid usually what happens, you need to buy the extra stuff if you want a moon filter. These are just useless, pathetic, they don't serve any purpose. And again, this is plastic. Again, this is glass. See, even a moon filter has certain quality. This filter, believe it or not, only costs between £5 to £10. So it's not actually that expensive. This will probably cost pennies, probably not even a pence to make. So it just shows you, when you buy decent telescope equipment, don't sacrifice on quality. Now this is the actual mount that you get. Now if you check out some of the links below, you can order the Skywatcher 80mm refractor, and it comes with this AZ-free tripod and mount. It's a basic up and down mount, okay, there's nothing too special about it. Ignore these additional attachments, alright, these are what I've just modified, but usually what you get is two slow motion controls. Here's one here, and you get one on the side which goes here. Again, the mount is designed so that you can rotate the telescope up and down, alright, and the mount should stay stationary. Okay, it's very sturdy. So I'm going to place the telescope. Again, it's a dovetail mount, and it locks in place like so. Now you won't get this type of attachment here, alright, it usually gets attached here. These are just modifications of what I've done. However, the EZ free mount will be already clamped together. So if you're going to purchase, it will already be clamped onto this tripod. So it's all clamped together, and you should designed to move the telescope up and down, left and right. You can see that the tripod is sturdy when I'm moving this. Alright, this is designed to hold the weight of the telescope. There's clamping screws where you can clamp together, alright, and it should not move. Again, using the slow motion controls, you name it. This is a decent mount. It's very basic, but it's sturdy, and that's what you want. You want a sturdy mount. Okay, and I'm shaking this. The legs are almost fully extended. Usually when you extend the legs, it usually flexes, but this is sturdy enough for visual use. When you're looking at the moon or the planets, you don't want a wobbly mount. When you start using high magnification for your eyepieces, you're going to get a lot of wobbling, and you don't want that. So this mount can take a lot of weight. It can take a 4-inch refractor, but to be honest with you, this mount is quite beefy, and it will hold an 80mm refractor, not a problem. Again, I think this is a fantastic budget telescope for the money. So as you see, you've got a very good sturdy mount for less, with the telescope, with the eyepieces, for under £150. Now, I always say that a 70mm refractor is the bare minimum. This has got a slightly bit more aperture, and it is fantastic for lots of views of the night sky, including some deep sky objects. Bear in mind, you can't afford £140. There are cheaper alternatives which means you have to downsize. You can go for a 60mm refractor as long as if it's got decent quality optics, decent glass, sturdy mount, decent eyepieces. It will serve its purpose and it'll be better than a cheap trash telescope. Please visit an Astro Telescope shop as well. There are retailers out there that are willing to give you some good advice and they can work within your budget. Okay, and they'll pick a telescope for you.
So I'm now outside and I'm going to demonstrate the image quality. Now already we've got the decent telescope, the 80mm refractor on its sturdy mount with good quality optical glass, and as you can see, alright, we're going to focus on a distant object. Now the best object I would always use is a chimney pot, okay, or something distant where it's going to show you a lot of colour fringing. We've got Plastic Fantastic here, as you can see, with its horrible tripod. It's that rubbish that the camera adapter for it doesn't even fit. It's because I was going to fit the mobile phone on there and it looks like the eyepieces are so crap that the actual camera adapter doesn't even fit properly. So it just shows you what trash telescopes, it's not even suitable to do that. And bear in mind, putting the weight of the mobile phone, that tripod is just useless. So this is the price difference you can really see between the two. Well, I was going to show you the image quality through the telescope. Unfortunately, this useless telescope, I cannot achieve focus whatsoever. Never mind trying the tripod being that useless, I can't even support the weight. Alright, with a mobile phone and a camera adapter, it just can't hold it. I can't even get an image. So it just shows you how pathetic this telescope is. It really is atrocious. What a piece of junk. So what I'm going to do is, because I can't study it and I can't focus it, I'm going to try and find another alternative to take the picture, and hope for the best I can get an example image. Yeah, so bear with me and I'll show you the results, okay? Compared to this telescope, this is just, it's just pathetic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my best and take a picture somehow with this pile of junk. So as you can see, I've got my mobile phone attached to the 80mm refractor, and as you can see, there is slight colour fringing along the edge or the bottom of the roof, but it's got very good colour correction, and as you can see there, a very good clear image. Using the standard eyepiece of a 25mm eyepiece, I have got a very good view, and as you can see the quality is so much better on the 80mm Skywatcher. I'm now going to show you the view from the cheap trash telescope.
So there you have it. Did this video really help you out? If it does, please hit the like button. The more we push out this video, the more that information will go across in the world, and it's going to help thousands of people. There's been a lot of damage, serious damage is done, and all we can do is to prevent this is if we spread the word out, share the knowledge, help each other out within the astro community. It's going to help businesses, it's going to help build the community up, okay? Stop this negativity. Astronomy is a science, it's educational. It helps people to study. It helps them to make them understand the universe. There's too many negative vibes going on in this world. And by doing that, it's just discouraging newcomers from this hobby. And all that's doing is just creating a massive impact. And that's why this video is so important. So, for myself, all our members, moderators, administrators, our fellow astro groups and astro clubs in the world, we need to work together. We need to help people, especially the newcomers and kids. Get them involved. We need to work together, and by doing this, again, all you YouTubers out there as well should also follow suit. We need to influence people, get them involved into astronomy. It's a great science. Space is a wonderful thing. I've seen amazing things that I just can't believe that people just cannot look up. It's there. It's always up there. And again, I'm amazed that people can't look up. They rather just look at the mobile phone and just look down, when we should be looking up. Alright, there's a great show up there. You can see amazing things, and instruments like this will help people understand what space is all about. You're missing out. Well, most people are looking down, a few of us are looking up, and we're seeing amazing images, amazing pictures. You can see a ton of detail, you name it, the moon, the planets, even galaxies and nebula. It's all achieved with just a simple device like this. So this simple refractor is going to help you see all these things. Maybe not in a lot of detail, but as you go further afield, if you like what you see and you do appreciate certain views, okay, the eye can only take so much light. I get that. You're not going to see vivid colours and all that for an instrument like this, unless you take up astrophotography, where you fit a telescope on an EQ mount like this Newtonian here, okay. This is mounted on a special mount, and it will track the stars. So if this telescope is permanently fixed onto an object in the sky and is tracking, you can take astro images, and the camera will reveal a lot more detail, and you'll see the vivid colours, but you'll only see it through the camera. Okay, the camera collects a lot of light. You open it up, as long as the mount is tracking on a fixed object, the camera will gather tons of information. You can get all those vivid colours, but an EQ mount is the only way. A computer EQ mount or an EQ mount with tracking motors is the only way you're going to achieve that for that camera to take long exposure. So you can see them, but again, astrophotography is another level. The interest starts from visual, believe it or not. It's getting people interested first. That is the main concern. You can take photos with this instrument of the pictures of the moon or the planets, and with the technology we've got now, You can even attach decent camera adapters to even attach a mobile phone onto this setup. So you can take good pictures. But if you want to go further afield, then a telescope like this with an EQ mount with tracking motors and a camera that can take long exposure will enable you to do that. But believe me, that's when the budget does push out a little bit more. Astrophotography is expensive, and I'm not just saying that to scare people off, but I won't even consider anything like that until the user starts off first by looking up. Before they're even contemplating about taking pictures, that's the next step. This is a completely new subject on its own, and that's why the prices go up for an astrograph or anything you want to take, any telescope setup that you want to take pictures with a camera. Okay, you can do it, but it involves a bigger budget and a steeper learning curve. So please think about that as well. Okay, you can take great pictures with the moon and the planets with this, not a problem. However, when you want to go even advanced, then the budget goes higher, and I'm not going to discourage you in that. However, if you are wanting a setup, you can still use this for visual purposes, don't get me wrong. But a setup like that is for advanced users. So please, for the newcomers amongst you, start off with the basics first, and a good telescope like this will get you interested. Okay, this will show you a lot of detail of the moon, the planets, don't get me wrong. And again, and even if this costs too much for most people, then the best advice I would say to anyone, if you either go second hand, you can get second hand refractors like this for less than £100. You just need to look around, but please, you need to do your research, ask people around, and if budget is a real concern, then the best advice I would say is get yourself a decent pair of binoculars. Okay, they're going to serve a lot more than a cheap trash telescope, and believe me. And even though this doesn't get used for astronomy, you can use it for something else. And a decent pair you can pick between 25 to about £70, right, for a decent pair of binoculars. And these were free with one of the telescopes I used to own. And these are good 10x50s, right, 10 magnifications by 50mm objective lens. They're a decent pair of binoculars. They're going to serve a lifetime, and I've had these, wow, coming up to about 12 years now, and they still look brand new. They're just fantastic. And again, there are retailers now that I recommend, if you check out the links, that will do a package. They'll even have star maps, a red torch, decent accessories, particularly for this branded model here. Alright, there are retailers that are doing a nice package now to try and encourage people into astronomy. You can use this for bird watching. So if you don't want to use it for astronomy, use it for bird watching. And again, if you haven't got the budget for that, then please, this is the best buy, without a doubt. And believe it or not, I still use these all the time. Even when I'm astro imaging, I always like to use a pair of binoculars to look up the night sky and spot things. And it passes on the time. It's enjoyable. Astronomy is enjoyable. Enjoy the views. Because at the end of the day, we should be looking up, not looking at a mobile phone or an app. We should be looking up. And that is the purpose of astronomy. It's broaden our horizons, broaden our knowledge, broaden to encourage people. Get people involved into astronomy. Don't push people away from astronomy. Okay? Again, remember, astronomy is for all. It's not for rich people. Okay? They can afford a decent equipment. It's also for everyone. Everyone at all levels. And that's what we need to do. and particular for us experienced astronomers, I own expensive equipment, don't get me wrong. I also own an apochromatic refractor. But should I push it out to put people off? No, that's not my idea of doing to put people off. I don't want to push out a decent telescope that costs thousands of pounds to put people off. I have budget equipment and they are fantastic. But again, I do own apochromatic refractors. I do own a lot of equipment myself. But I had to save my money to get what I have. And again, that's the reason why, if your interest grows, then you can afford a decent apochromatic refractor or a decent mount. But again, it's a lot of concern is budget, I get that. But I don't like to put people off. Because again, astronomy can be expensive, but it doesn't have to be expensive. If you look much more clearly, you can get really good for value astro equipment for not much money. And the whole purpose of this video is to put it out to everyone that astronomy is for all. For everyone, at all levels. And we must not forget that. We must help each other out. We must encourage new people in. We need to save astronomy. We need to save for what it stands for. The purpose of this is to share and to enjoy the night sky. So please hit the like button, please subscribe onto the channel, hit the notifications, and I look forward to see you again in another video. So please, I wish you all a happy Christmas, and please keep looking, keep enjoying the night sky. I thank you all, and I wish you all clear skies.